My name's Jessica, and today we're going to talk about disability. There's been a lot of questions and ups and downs with the disability situation. A lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about it, so I want to take the opportunity to share this part of my journey with you. So, I originally had applied for disability back in 2010 when I was going through postpartum psychosis after giving birth. And I was, crazy. When I tell you crazy, I was like hallucinating all the time, living in an altered reality. And so we never thought I was going to get better. And so I started to apply for disability, and incredibly, I did not get it, which was insane. And I wasn't able to keep up with the paperwork because I was insane, and so I ended up going past the date to appeal, and then I would have to start the process all over again. And then I went through a period of time where I was doing really well physically, and I was working again, and so I didn't need it. And then I had a relapse in symptoms that have been waxing and waning, and I'm doing the work to get rid of them, but it had gotten so bad that I was in organ failure from treatment for Lyme disease. So I applied, and then 7 months went by, and the person who was in charge of my case didn't do any work. So then I had to start the process over again. In February of last year, I applied I didn't get an attorney. I went to get an attorney, and they said that it wasn't a case that I was going to get because I was too young and I didn't pay enough into the system. I was a stripper for 9 years, and I didn't understand the system at that point, and how it worked and how it would mess me up in the end. So then I got a case manager through disability who helped me kind of stay on track and whatnot. And then I went through a review, and then I found out at the end of September that I had been approved, and I was going to receive $750 a month and $2,200 in back pay. And they sent me the back pay check first, and then they sent me in October my first monthly payment. And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing how abundant my life became just like that, because of going through the homelessness and learning how to live literally with nothing. Learning how to barter as my way of providing for my family. And because the reality of it is our idea that there's lack or there's not enough is really only because we limit in the ways in which we receive. And when we say I'm only going to be abundant if I have this paper stuff and this silver coins, and if I don't have oh my gosh, somebody's getting picked up by the ambulance here. I'm at my boy's physical therapy appointment. So when we limit in the ways that we receive and say, we're only going to be abundant if I have this much of this and only this, right? Well, then of course we're going to be stressed out and feel like we're lacking, because that's just kind of an odd system in and of itself, because it's like I can't really work right now, so I don't get to participate in that system, really, if that makes sense. But it's up to us to find a way to live within the circumstances and be happy. You know, like, that's what I think all the time, is like, I've been through some really miserable things. I've been through homelessness and you know, near death and divorces and abandonment and all kinds of stuff. And it's really amazing what happens when you work with yourself to find out how you can make the situation happy, you know, and finding that one thing in that situation that gets you going, you know, that gets your mind out of it. It's absolutely amazing. And so it was like, well, I'm having an issue with money, and so how am I going to fix that? And then that's when I started bartering. And when I started bartering, it was amazing. I was getting more organic produce than I ever could have before. And I was watching people's children. I was just doing anything that came up. I got this theory that if I just did the work that was in front of me, and which was usually loving someone, and then the abundance will come back, you know. And indeed, it's been absolutely true. So I digress. I had learned how to live with nothing, so $750 a month was incredible. You know, I was stressed out because I couldn't afford rent, so I used the money to buy a camper, you know. And now I'm bartering to stay on people's properties, and so I'm avoiding paying rent, and so my bills are very minimal. And so when I received that $750, it was like, wow, like, there's the abundance. Holy cow, you know, it's really true. Well, then I got a letter that said that they were taking it away, that they did a review again, and they decided I didn't get it. But there were no specifications of why or anything like that. So I went into the office and I, you know, double checked because I thought it was a clerical error, and it turns out it's not. And they don't give you a reason why. They just say they did a review and they decided you don't qualify. And so now I'm going through an appeals process, because although physically I am definitely healing, my mental state is still not it's not working properly. And some days, like today, I have a hard time finding my words and staying on track, and I'm really confused a lot. I have anxiety. I experience anxiety so badly that I don't like to talk on the phone. It's really hard for me to hang out with people now, unless I'm out doing like community work and stuff like that. And I'm healing, and I'm not gonna need the disability for long. I just need we need to be able to get back up on our feet. And the reality is the system is not set up for us to get back on our feet. It's not a life rehabilitation situation. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, how can I make this happy for myself? You know, how can I make myself happy in this situation, rather? Because I could choose to be like, oh, you know what I mean? And when I choose that, I feel bad, and then I physically feel bad, and then I attract icky things into my life, because when I'm not feeling good, I don't make very good decisions for myself. So one thing leads into another. And so this is fueling my desire to get this community going. You know what I mean? Misfit Sanctuary, I'm pretty sure is what I'm going to call it. And it started out for people that had Lyme disease, but now I no longer identify with any certain diseases, because it's really just the manifestation of the symptom that we need to know to work with finding what trauma has become stagnant and needs our attention, and then we work on the trauma, and then our ailments disappear. That's how I've brought myself back from the brink of death. And so through my journey, I have gone through the system, and this is the thing, is I want to address the fact that even though I was homeless and I was going through, you know, all these systems and the disability and all of this, even though I was going through that, I still recognize that as a, you know, attractive white woman, I am going through it the best possible way. You know what I mean? And so it kills me, and it almost killed me. I almost killed myself, guys. I really did. And so it kills me to think that there are people going through this and they're having less help, you know, and they're being treated even more worthless. And so what we need is a community that really helps people get back on their feet, that can bring together the people who've been abandoned due to illness or you know, things like that, and then bringing them in, teaching them about, you know, financial budgeting and things like that, teaching them how to grow their produce so that they don't have to go to food pantries and take their crap. And then they don't have to worry about going to the store and buying expensive things. Teaching them how to grow herbs so that they can grow medicinal herbs and treat themselves that way. You know, have volunteer chiropractors or acupuncturists come in, you know, once every couple of months. You know, and empowering them to tell their story with authority and go out there and do the same thing for other people, and use this as a way to catapult ourselves into the abundance that is available. And so it'll be a year-long program, and while they're there, they'll stay in a camper or a tiny home that has been built, and while they're there, they'll also be required to help build the next one. And so then they'll learn how to build something, you know? So they'll get out of the program and they'll have all these skills of herbalism and permaculture and you know, carpentry. And then they'll be able to go out and help other people, you know? So, and they'll be able to live, like, self-sustain, you know? And get out of the system of the circle, you know? Because basically, I mean, what we need to do is get ourselves well enough that we don't need the system anymore. And I know that's a dangerous thing to say, but that's what needs to happen. And so I'm also recently decided to go vegan, not just for compassion reasons, but because it's ruining the planet. And it's also the things that we're eating, like meat and stuff, is a lower vibration. And so the thing is that I'm realizing is if I just work on raising my vibration higher and higher, it creates an environment where you know, organisms can't thrive, you know, and it's healing our physical bodies because we are practicing self-love and raising our vibration, and so it heals the traumas, you know. So I hope that makes sense. And so that's what I can take away from this situation, that it is fueling me to move forward. And maybe in some way before I came here, I elected to have these situations because I knew what kind of person I was going to be, and that I have a tendency to become complacent. And it might take time for me to get this going. It started back in 2010, and I couldn't work on it very much because I was not feeling well. And so it might take some time, but I see a need, feel a need, you know what I mean? And I am grateful that I've gone through this situation, because now I can see where the cracks are, and get all the people who have fallen through the cracks of life. Yeah, so that is my disability story, and I'll do an update at some point to let everyone know what's going on. And I really encourage you to tell me your disability story. You can post it below, or you can find me on Facebook at Jessica Lynn Ross, or you can use my other account, which is more the businessy side of things, and that's The Loving Life. So yeah, I might even change it to the Misfit Sanctuary. And yeah. So remember to subscribe, remember to share, and remember that you're loved and you matter, and you are worthy of abundance, and you are worthy of self-love, and you're doing the best that you can, and everything could be a blessing if you choose to see it that way. So I hope you choose that today, and I hope you choose thoughts that bring you relief in your body instead of heaviness. And I look forward to reading your messages. So if you'd like to contact me for opportunities, my email address is JAYBELL, so that's jbell7512 at gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and I hope all of this made sense. Bye.